I would ask that you remain standing as we welcome Mr. Robert Perrier, who will lead us in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
It is with pride and delight that we gather to celebrate the success of all of our graduands. Let us pray that your God will enlighten your minds and ignite your hearts with compassion and intrigue. May your actions, decisions, and opinions be tempered with attentiveness and good judgment. May you be blessed with genuine compassion and understanding as you venture into situations that require sensitive responses, caring hearts, and holistic healing toward the infirmed, the brokenhearted, and the anxious. May you embrace a spirit of awe as you encounter all stages of life. May this spirit deepen your response, responsibility, and relationship toward all of creation. May you possess a spirit of wisdom that will enhance your search for truth and clarity and give each of you the confidence to call upon colleagues when skills of another are required. We pray that every graduate remember with gratitude all those who encouraged and supported them over the years, and we ask you to share such considerations with others. May your God bless you and those you love with your heart's desires from this day forward. Amen.
I hereby declare this 50th session of Convocation open.
Welcome to Lakeheadu University's 2014 ceremonies. Now, what I want to hear from you is, are you happy with summer? Applaud if you do. It finally got here. À nos invités distingués, les parents et les membres des familles, les amis, et en particulier ceux et celles qui seront bien diplômés, je vous souhaite bienvenue. I would like to acknowledge the original custodians of this land and pay my respect to the elders, past, present, and future, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture, and the hopes of Aboriginal peoples. I would also like to acknowledge that this gathering is being held on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe people, the Fort William First Nations, and the 1850 Robinson Superior Treaty Area. In the language of the Anishinaabe, Ani buju wachiye kiniwiya, migwich gabishayeng nongom gagishiak, ndamadawindan jitsid wimaban, Anishinaabe Aki, Fort William First Nations, and the 1850 Robinson Superior Treaty Area. Mr. Chancellor, it is my privilege to introduce the members of the Platform Party for today's convocation. These members represent the leadership of Lakeheadu University, who are essential to the running of the Academy. To the members of the Platform Party, I ask that you please stand as I announce your name or the area that you represent. Dr. Gillian Siddall, Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities. Dr. David Barnett, our Dean of Faculty of Engineering. Dr. Connie Russell, Acting Dean, Faculty of Education. Dr. Philip Hicks, Dean, Graduate Studies. Dr. Laurie Livingston, Dean, Faculty of Health and Behavioral Sciences. Jacqueline Dojak, 2014 Fellow. Cameron Clark, Chair of the Board of Governors of Lakehead University. Dr. Derek Burney, Chancellor of Lakehead University. Dr. Maura McPherson, Acting Provost and Vice President Academic. Dr. Arnold Aberman, Honorary Degree Candidate. Dr. Roger Strasser, our Dean of the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. Robert Jameson, Alumni Association of Lakehead University President. Dr. Glenna Knudsen, Mace Bearer. Sister Alice Greer, Chaplain of the University. And Dr. Dean Jobin Bevans, name reader for today's ceremony. I would like the members of the Board of Governors of Lakehead University to please stand. Thank you. I would like our fellows of the university to please stand. I would like our senior administration and staff to please stand. I would like the senators and faculty to please stand. Mr. Chancellor, it is my honor to introduce Dr. Roger Strasser, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, who will introduce the honorary degree recipient.
Mr. Chancellor, it is a pleasure to introduce Dr. Arnold Aberman. Born in Montreal, Dr. Aberman received his BSc and MD degrees from McGill University, where he won many academic awards and prizes. Dr. Aberman was from 1973 to 1989 the director of the Intensive Care Unit of Mount Sinai Hospital, a teaching hospital of the University of Toronto Faculty of Medicine. And from October 1989 to June 1992, he was Physician-in-Chief of the Toronto Hospital. A Professor of Medicine at the University of Toronto since 1980, Dr. Aberman was, from October 1989 to November 1992, Chairman of the Department of Medicine at the University of Toronto and the 6th Sir John and Lady Eaton Professor of Medicine. In December 1992, he became the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, and in 1994 he assumed the position of Vice Provost Relations with Healthcare Institutions, in addition to his role as Dean. Dr. Aberman stepped down from both positions in June 1999. From January 1st, 2002 to August 31st, 2002, Dr. Aberman was Consulting Dean of the Northern Ontario School of Medicine, pending my appointment as Founding Dean. Subsequently, Dr. Aberman continued in various consulting roles, supporting me and assisting with the establishment and development of the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. Dr. Aberman has over 60 publications on the management of shock and other problems of critically ill patients. He has lectured widely throughout the United States, Canada, and the rest of the world, and been a visiting professor in many medical schools. He has held leadership positions in many academic organizations, including the American Board of Internal Medicine, the American College of Physicians, the American Board and Governing Council, the Academic Board and Governing Council of the University of Toronto, and the Association of Faculties of Medicine of Canada. On the 30th of June 2011, Dr. Aberman was appointed a member of the Order of Canada with the following citation. Arnold Aberman has contributed to the advancement of medicine for more than 30 years. As co-director of the intensive care unit at Mount Sinai Hospital, he was instrumental in securing recognition for the field of critical care medicine as an independent discipline in Canada. He contributed to the founding of the Northern Ontario School of Medicine and was also Dean of Medicine at the University of Toronto. It is no exaggeration to say that Dr. Aberman was a major architect of the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. His expertise and experience were critical in the early startup phase of the school. Without Dr. Aberman's phenomenal contribution, the Northern Ontario School of Medicine would not be the outstanding success that it is today. There are few academic leaders in medicine in Canada who have had such an impact on the total system as Arnie Aberman. The breadth of his knowledge and the depth of his wisdom are rarely found in one individual. Over the years, Dr. Aberman's wise counsel has been sought regularly by physicians, hospital and health service administrators, and government officials. Arnie is always incisive and insightful in his analysis of situations and always provides sound and practical advice. He is truly one of a kind. Dr. Arnold Aberman is an outstanding individual who demonstrates excellence in all his endeavours. I have the honour to present to you Dr. Arnold Aberman, that you may confer upon him the degree of Doctor of Science.
Mr. Chancellor, it is my great privilege and pleasure to request, on behalf of the Senate of Lakehead University, that you confer on Arnold Aberman the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me, I am pleased and proud to admit you, Dr. Arnold Aberman, to the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa. To address Convocation.
Yeah, I got it there. Just got to get this working. Give me a second. There we go. Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, honored guests, faculty, parents, family, friends, fellow graduates of 2014. Congratulations to all the graduates here today. And congratulations to your parents, your wives and husbands, your partners, and other members of your family whose help made this day happen. I want to acknowledge my wife, Janice, whose support for the past 47 years has been instrumental in my career. I am very honored to receive an honorary degree from Lakehead University, and I thank all of those on the Lakehead Board and Senate who made this possible. I'm receiving the honorary degree for the contributions I made in the creation of NOSM, the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. NOSM has been a great triumph, and as the saying goes, failure is an orphan, success has many parents. So in that sense, I am very proud to have played a role, along with so many others, in the success of NOSM. It was early January 2002 when I was engaged by the Implementation Management Committee, appointed by then Premier Mike Harris, to develop a plan for a new medical school in Northern Ontario with campuses here in Lakehead, in Thunder Bay, and in Sudbury and Laurentian University. The committee needed someone who had knowledge about the organization of medical schools, and they asked me to join their group as consulting dean until the appointment of the founding dean. I had recently stepped down as Dean of Medicine at the University of Toronto, and I welcomed this opportunity. Although the committee began its work in 2002, in fact, the ground had been laid for a medical school in Northern Ontario many years before then. In the early 1970s, a new medical school at McMaster University began sending some of its students for clinical rotations with physicians here in Northwestern Ontario. And soon thereafter, the University of Ottawa began its own medical education program in Northeastern Ontario. By 2002, over 500 doctors were participating in these programs, providing a base for the clinical teaching that was required for the new medical school. NOSM is unique in many ways. When it was created, it was the only medical school in North America that was hosted by two universities. And the fact that Thunder Bay and Sudbury were 1,000 kilometers apart presented special challenges to the organization of the medical school and delivery of its curriculum. Of necessity, NOSM quickly became a leader in delivery of distance education with special expertise in telemedicine. The support by and the involvement of the Northern Ontario community has meant that NOSM from the very beginning has had a special social accountability mandate. I think it's fair to say that no other medical school in North America is more integrated with the communities it serves. Over 90% of students come from Northern Ontario. Just over 60% of the five graduating classes have chosen family medicine as a career, fulfilling an important NOSM mandate. The medical school has already had a major impact in delivery of health services to Northern Ontario. And much of the credit for these accomplishments is due to the leadership of Roger Strasser, the founding dean, who is beginning his third term this July. Well done, Roger. Deans and other senior faculty members are very fortunate. Behind the scenes, they are supported by an administrative team without whom they could not be successful. Yet, when recognition comes, the faculty member is invariably alone on the stage, as I am today, to accept applause. Let me try to correct that in a small way. Dorothy Wright was the Chief Administrative Officer of NOSM from the beginning in 2008. Dorothy is here today. I want to take this opportunity to recognize Dorothy both for her own contribution, her indispensable role in the success of NOSM, and as representative of all the administrative, non-academic staff of NOSM. Dorothy, please stand to receive recognition and our thanks. It is my role as a convocation speaker to share with graduates some important idea or ideas to guide their future life. Let me try to fulfill that role. Recently, as you may know, in the United States, convocation speakers have been disinvited or otherwise made feel unwelcome because some members of the faculty or students did not agree with their opinions on different controversial issues. Ayan Hirsi Ali, the Somali-born women's rights activist, from speaking at Brandeis University in Massachusetts. Condoleezza Rice, the first female African-American Secretary of State, from speaking at Rutgers. Christine Lagarde, the International Monetary Fund Managing Director from speaking at Smith College in Massachusetts, and Robert Bergeneau, the Canadian-born physicist and former Chancellor of the University of California at Berkeley, from speaking at Haverford College in Pennsylvania. It is a sad commentary on our times that academic freedom, that academic institutions, which should be at the vanguard of protecting free speech, appear to be, at least in some universities, to quote Abigail Thernstrom, Vice Chair of the United States Commission on Civil Rights, islands of repression in a sea of freedom. Evidently, there are those who feel that the mind of graduates are too fragile to be exposed to controversial views. I know that is not true about Lakehead graduates. So I'm grateful to Lakehead University, its leadership, faculty, and students for not inquiring about my political views before conferring this honorary degree and allowing me to address the graduating class. No one asked for my opinion on unrestricted abortion, the war on terror, free trade, or global warming. Some claim that all these issues are either settled science or considered off limits for discussion. Well, let's talk about settled science. It was settled science when I was a medical student in the 1960s that duodenal ulcers were caused by excess gastric acid, exacerbated by stress. Treatment then focused on reducing acidity and stress, either by pills, surgery, or psychotherapy. I would have failed medical school and not be standing before you today if on my final exam I wrote that ulcers were caused by infection. Then, in the early 1980s, Robin Warren and Barry Marshall of Australia isolated Helicobacter from patients with ulcer disease and concluded that these bacteria were the cause of duodenal ulcers. They did not have an easy time. After all, this was against settled science. As Barry Marshall recounted in his Nobel Prize lecture, his results were not believed, even though he had started successfully treating patients who had suffered with life-threatening ulcer disease for years with antibiotics. So in 1984, Marshall, frustrated by the lack of acceptance of discovery, decided to infect himself with H. pylori, without discussing his plan, I might add, with the ethics committee of the hospital. He became severely ill, and biopsy showed colonization and classic histologic damage to the stomach. He then successfully treated himself with antibiotics. He still had a decade ahead of unsuccessful research applications and rejected manuscripts. Private investors had to fund the clinical trials that finally vindicated his research findings. In 2005, Warren and Marshall were awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine for their discovery. Of course, ulcer story is not unique. In 1982, Dan Shechtman of Israel's Technion University discovered quasicrystals, crystalline material whose atoms do not line up periodically, which, if true, violated over a century of crystallography settled science. His work was ridiculed by his colleagues for years. Linus Pauling, a 1954 Nobel laureate in chemistry himself, said that Shechtman was talking nonsense, and there was no such thing as quasi-crystals, only quasi-scientists. Eventually, Shechtman was proved correct, and in 2011, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. The settled science of the value of mammography in the early diagnosis of breast cancer has now been challenged because of the incidence of false positives. And most surprisingly, in the past month, a meta-analysis of over 73 published studies of more than 500,000 patients found no relationship between cardiovascular disease and the consumption of fatty acids. So much for that settled science. So what could we learn from these examples? Not, of course, that there is no settled science, but that claiming settled science is a statement, not an argument. Truth is not discovered by voting. What is settled science today, what you may have been taught as settled science today, may be labeled a mistaken belief tomorrow. So what is my advice to you, fellow graduates? Don't follow the example of Brightness University, Rutgers University, Smith College, or Haverford College. You can't learn in an echo chamber, welcoming only your own ideas. Listen to those you do not agree with. In fact, I urge, seek them out. Oppose their theories with facts, not with censorship. Be very suspicious of those who want to cut off debate with "this is against settled science." Appealing to authority is a sign of weakness, not strength. Finally, graduates, once more, congratulations and good luck. I am proud to accept this honorary Doctor of Science degree.
Mr. Chancellor, it is my great privilege and pleasure to introduce a local fiddling sensation, Olivia Corcola, to provide us with a musical interlude.
I'm so honored to provide some of my original tunes with you guys, for you guys today. Congrats to you graduates, and I guess it paid off, eh? Like, we're all sitting there. So yeah, I'm gonna play some tunes for you brains. So.
Wow. What a, ladies and gentlemen, Olivia Cork. She deserves another round of applause. Olivia, come out. Olivia Corkla. One more round of applause, please. Thank you. That was lovely. Thank you. Okay, I can't beat that, so calm down. Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present Mr. Cameron Clark, the Chair of the Board of Governors, who will introduce the candidate for the title of Fellow of Lakehead University.
Mr. Chancellor, it is my great privilege and pleasure to request on behalf of the Board of Governors of Lakehead University that you confer on Jacqueline Dojak the title Fellow of the University.
By virtue of the authority vested in me, I confer upon you, Jacqueline Dojak, the title Fellow of this University. Congratulations.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present Dr. Maureen McPherson, Acting Provost and Vice President Academic, to introduce the recipients of Professor Emeritus title.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present on behalf of the Senate of the University our distinguished colleague, Dr. Jane Crossman, who has been awarded the Professor Emeritus title.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're celebrating Lakehead University's 50th Convocation. Turning 50 is a momentous occasion, a time to reflect on who we are and what we have accomplished. Over the last half century, our students have infused the school with a youthful spirit. And as we reach this new milestone, Lakehead is being energized by a multiplicity of ideas and cultures. Our students converge on Thunder Bay from northwestern Ontario, the East Coast, the West Coast, the GTA, all across the country. They come from every conceivable background, each carrying their own unique aspirations. Over 1,200 come from the original peoples of this land. Many of them are the children or grandchildren of immigrants who sought a better life. And increasingly, those who choose Lakehead arrive from other countries. I count myself among them. Although I was born in Canada, I was raised in Mexico, the home of my mother's family. Spanish is my first language. When I returned to Canada at the age of 16, it was a huge culture shock. I lived the immigrant experience of most new Canadians. I missed the comforting landmarks of my childhood, the familiar food, and the easy laughter of my relatives. What got me through this? Well, the support of my family and the creation of a second family, one woven together at university, made up of fellow students, friends, educators, and mentors. I began to realize that having an international perspective was an incredible asset, one that enriched me and gave me the skills to adapt to changing situations. This is why Lakehead has embarked upon a strategy to reach out to the world. We recognize that global collaboration is essential to Canada's well-being and to the future of our children. After all, 40% of our gross domestic product depends on exports. Students appreciate our small class sizes, one-on-one interaction with professors, and emphasis on independent thinking, because they understand that this will lay the foundation for a promising career. In fact, Lakehead was declared the #1 university in Ontario for research intensity and #2 in Canada for universities of our size in the annual ranking of Canada's top 50 universities that are intense in research. Lakehead University's research reputation is one of the reasons why a number of international students has skyrocketed from about 100 when I arrived to almost 500 today. And within 3 years, international students will make up 10% of the student population when we reach our goal of 1,000 international students. Our English language program is helping international students transition to university studies in a safe environment and where outdoor adventure and cosmopolitan culture exist side by side. And earlier this year, Lakehead signed an historic agreement with Indigenous universities in Mexico that will enable students and faculty to flow back and forth between Canada and Mexico and engage in exceptional academic programming and research. We have dramatically expanded our number of exchange programs. Lakehead students now have the chance to study in Italy, in Korea, in Singapore, Australia, Sweden, Finland, and many more countries. This is because we want all Lakehead students to be citizens of the world, to allow our common humanity to connect us. 2 graduating nursing students, Savannah Cranick and Trevor Campbell, have taken this philosophy to heart. They both traveled to New Zealand's Auckland City Hospital this winter. Trevor to do an emergency department placement, and Savannah to do a cardiothoracic unit placement. When we asked Savannah about her experience, she spoke of how caring for patients from different cultures and ethnicities helped her view nursing from a different perspective. She learned the value of asking questions and collaborating. Savannah and Trevor's willingness to take a risk and embrace the unconventional is characteristic of Lakehead students, whether they're from Brazil or Brampton, North Bay, or Saudi Arabia. They and the many other nursing students who have done international placements have been strengthened by their own overseas training. Lakehead faculty members, like health science professor Helle Muller, have also adopted this outward-looking attitude. Helle, who is Danish, has worked as a nurse and as an anthropologist in Denmark and Nunavut. And she's a Lakehead researcher with diverse interests. 2 of her recent team projects, including seeking new ways to prevent cervical cancer among Northwestern Ontario First Nation women through better screening techniques, and the publication of a book celebrating the joys and challenges of nursing in Greenland. Of course, when we think of health research, we also automatically think of the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. a school that has been synonymous with innovation since its birth almost 10 years ago. NOSM graduates are changing how medicine is practiced in this country and around the world. They are passionate about health, the health of people in the North and in all communities facing healthcare shortages. And the world is paying attention. In January, NOSM hosted a conference that drew policymakers, educators, and health professionals from Northern European countries, including Iceland, Norway, Scotland, and Ireland. They came to study Canada's strategies to recruit healthcare professionals to rural and remote areas. The conference is just one of the Northern Ontario School of Medicine's latest achievements. Less than a year ago, NOSM was also honored with a prestigious Aspire Award for International Excellence in Medical Education. Two of the people responsible for this success are with us today, and you've gotten to know them a bit. NOSM's former consulting dean, Dr. Arnie Aberman, who we're delighted to have presented today with an honorary doctor, and NOSM's founding dean, Dr. Roger Strasser. Roger and Arnie worked closely together to help create a school that emphasized social accountability and that broke the rules about how students should learn. But I'll leave the final words of this speech to nursing student Savannah Cranick, because I think she expresses not only the best way to acquire an exceptional education, but also how to approach life, when she said the following, I quote, "Step out of your comfort zone. Share ideas as well as listen to others' ideas. You may be surprised what you can learn. And don't be afraid to get a little messy. It will help you grow and build your character." I wish each of the graduates in this auditorium the courage to live fearlessly with integrity. And don't be afraid if life gets a little messy. Congratulations to you all. Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present Dr. Dean Jobin Bevans, who will introduce the candidates for degrees and diplomas.
May I ask the graduates to please stand? Mr. Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate of the University, I present to you the candidates who have fulfilled the academic requirements for degrees and diplomas and have compiled with all other requisites of the university. Mr. Chancellor, will you admit these graduates?
By virtue of the authority vested in me, I am very pleased and proud to admit you as graduates of Lakeheadu University.
You may now be seated. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Faculty of Health and Behavioral Sciences, I have the honor to present the PhD and Master's graduates from the faculty and to introduce Dr. Philip Hicks, Dean of the Faculty of Graduate Studies, who will congratulate each graduate. Hooding will be done by Dr. Lori Livingston, Dean of the Faculty of Health and Behavioral Sciences. Beginning with Doctorate of Philosophy, Julie Michelle Harper. Jennifer Helen Hewitt. This concludes our Doctor of Philosophy. Beginning of Master of Arts, Laura K.S. Bailey. Caitlin Marie Duchesne. Alana Jeanette Molly Rowana. This concludes our Master of Arts. Master of Public Health, Kristen Sarah Elizabeth Burfelds. Carrie Lynn Cleverton. Sherry Corbière. Ashley Surkas. Allison Lindsay Dennis. Yolande Sylvie Lawson. Cynthia Morisseau. Colleen Mary Morrow. Alexis Marion Poplinski. Jacqueline Rohrquist. This concludes our degree of Master of Public Health. Master of Social Work, Rose Paula Bocchi. Chelsea Franchuk. Jenna Dawn Garlick. Lisa Marie Kushner. Barbara Elizabeth Kwasniewska. Holly Catherine Mackey. This concludes our Master of Social Work. Honors Bachelor of Arts, Jessica Kate Baraskowicz. Tarina Diane Brer. Samantha Marie Chong. Vanessa Nicole Copetti. Laura Cortens. Stephanie Cottrell. Jessica Anala Ackensweiler. Stuart Elliott Leto. Michelle Emily Estevez. Elisa Taylor Ann Haversherd. Kaya Robin Ham. Pamela Hill. Samantha Lee Karshti. She's also a Dean's Award winner for the Department of Women's Studies. Nicholas Stephen Kowalczyk. Quinn Lee. Angeline Nathalie Marie Lapage. Amy Lee Montana Massillon. Megan Catherine Maxwell. Kimberly Elizabeth Ungaro. Dana Ellen Payment. Alexandra Popovich. Jordan Alexander Rutt. Rebecca Kathleen Scott. Matthew Raymond Smiley. Carly Brianne Stewart. Lauren Diane Turner. This concludes our Bachelor of Arts. Christina Edmonds begins our Bachelor of Arts four-year program. Miranda Anne-Marie Toulon, completing our Bachelor of Arts four-year. Bachelor of Arts degree, Erica Lee Anderson. Jessica Chafe. Chering Dolkar Dorji. Elizabeth Anna Hayward. Teresa Ikpong. Allison C. Isherwood. Mallory Jane Croker. Jillian Mary Mainville. Nicholas David Skirba. Chandel Vandervoort. Rhiannon Kathleen McKenzie. Jessica Wilcox completes our Bachelor of Arts. The beginning of our Bachelor of Kinesiology, Jeffrey Ashton. Christopher Michael Brown. Daniel Kenneth William Carlson. Stephen Lyle Douglas Carlson. Victoria Jane Cordero. Winta Desta, the winner of the Dean's Scholar Award for Kinesiology. Samuel Jonathan Dick. Scott Michael Edwards. Dylan James Gurnat. Tiffany Ellen Gervasi. Joshua Stephen Hymanen. Alexandra Megan Howie. Sarah J. Jollymore. Benjamin Alexander Jones. Krista Margaret Lukai. Michael Anthony Manzini. Amy Grace Matthews. Joshua Patrick McGowan. Lucas Migliazza. Aya Muhammad. Stephanie Helen Grace Morizo. Justin Mark Oda. Allison Parcels. Cole Allen Pollard. Patrick Lawrence Power. Michael Stephen Renzi. Victoria Ross. Michelle Marie Rolston. Catherine Louise Sargent. Rachel Savard. Jessica Skillen. Amy Slemko. Jessica Smith. Brandon Russell Stevens. Melissa Christie Stevenson. Brittany Tenyuk. Very English. Jeremy Arthur Wainwright. Elizabeth Ruth Wall. Stephen Timothy Walters. Jessica Brianne Warden. Concluding our honors, Bachelor of Kinesiology. The beginning of our honors of Bachelor of Science, Margarita Shimchuk Grip. Bailey Rebecca Whitefield, concluding our honors Bachelor of Science degree. Beginning of the Bachelor of Science four-year program with Michelle Lynn Van Dusen. And she concludes our Bachelor of Science four-year degree. The beginning of a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Mitra Abai. Caitlin Christina Anastasio. Karen Asman, also the winner of the Dean's Scholar Award for Nursing. Ansley Alana Ballant. Shanna Devon Betts. Kaylin Alexandra Mary Bradica. Brittany Braun. Shanna Calder. Mikella Campbell. Trevor John Campbell. Melissa Chesterman. Mikal Collision. Ashley Cook. Pamela Isabel Judith Dienike. Dondre Joseph. Emily Violet Elspeth Foles. Stephanie Marie Gurdovich. Shannon Elizabeth Godding. Crystal Gertson. Mariah Dawn Green. Megan Ariel Gazelle. Caitlin Hockle. Andrea Hallow. Melissa Hamilton. Katrina Marie Hart. Kimberly Ray Marie Henley. Céline Yvonne Hordy. Samantha P. Horty. Aaron Hernick. Connor Matthew Inglis. Ashley Nicole Callas. Courtney Marie Kemp. Evangeline King. Olivia Helen Klim. Savannah Krantz. Brandy Lechman. Donna Marie Lagergren. Amanda Marie Larezza. Mary Kate Lee. Roberta Lombard. Aisun Monma. Carly Elise McDonald. Mariah Catherine McIntyre. Kayla Andrea Jane Malcolm. Mike Martin. Neil Matson. Heather Christie Maxfield. Brooke McKenna. Jennifer Elizabeth Ann McLean. Kelly Dawn McMillan. Ainsley Marie McQueen. Jessica Ann Mellinson. Marissa Clarice Michelli. Ashley Lynn Montgomery. Sarah Lynn Morasuti. Jessica Murray. Sierra Danielle Nesbitt. Danielle Josephine Normand. Megan Offadani. Lindsay Overmere. Kayla Marie Paquette. Stephanie Parks. Kelsey Ann Pasternak. Rebecca Erin Peterson. Devon Elizabeth Rafter. James Colin Reeves. Candace M. Robert. Amanda Ruck. Sean Segrist. Paula Margaret Seal. Stina Seligren. Mandy Simpson. Gagandeep Singh. Brandon Smith. Samantha Smith. Kristen Nicole Steenerson. Sabrina Stewart. Natalie Ann Stone. Tyler John Struker. Miraj Sayed. Stacy Tassoni. Jenna Thompson. James Turner. Cheyenne Lynn Vandermeer. Sean Alexander Van Hapelto. Anton Jacob Vingen. Christina Marie Visser. Monique Visser. Kevin Ronald Vopny. Ashley Jolene Walsh. Tristan Alexander Wellings. Skylar Dawn Denise Wilgosh. Benjamin Wilson. Candace Krista Winter, concluding our Bachelor of Science in Nursing. We continue now with our Honors Bachelor of Social Work, Lori Barnard. Angelina Benincasa. Kristen Erica Joanna Busick. Annette Bouvia. Jennifer Brooks. Renita Brubaker. Jacqueline Collier. Brittany Freya. Tara Allison Gall. Jordan Wesley Hanna. Shelley Heavens. Margaret Jensen Palmer. Douglas Andrew Kashuk. Wesley Cavisto. Alexi Charlotte Elizabeth Krebs. Matthew Lee Lutton. Jillian McCall. Samuel Azwin Forte. Eva Malarchuk. Amy Newdorf. Brianne Marie Nistico. Jaylene Nydam. Delaney Michelle Romano. Cara Savas. Ian Bauer Scott, also the winner of the Dean's Medal for the Faculty of Health and Behavioral Sciences and Dean's Scholar Award for Social Work. Joanne Margaret Smith. Kimberly Thomas. Caitlin Sandra Tonaguzzi. Joe Wark. Sheena Ziegel, concluding our Honors Bachelor of Social Work. Mr. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of all of the graduates from the Faculty of Health and Behavioral Sciences. And on behalf of the Faculty of Medicine, I have the honor to present the graduates from the faculty and to introduce Mr. Roger Strasser, Dean of the Faculty, who will congratulate each graduate. Hooding will be done by Dr. Nicholas Escott. Doctor of Medicine, beginning with Diane Marie Bannon. Amanda Margaret Bates. Lori Eileen Boone. Sean Allen Bryan. Diana Joy Butenhuis. Claudio Francesco Comiso. Katrina May DeLuna. Tamara Hélène Delorme. Allison Victoria Dykstra. Connor James Eady. You can go forward. Danielle Eris. Carmen Ruth Fletcher. Suzanne Eleanor Giral. Natalie Gleason. Nathaniel Gregor Charles McLeod Ivy. Andrea Joan James. Have you moved forward? Sarah Ann Kelly. Matthew Laviolette. Kyle Francis Lee. Brian Lorbetsky. Patricia Ann Lyle. Catherine Loretta McGuire. Christy Dawn McKinnon. Puya Sadeki Aval. David William Savage. Arpita Sengupta. Antonio Bruno Valente. Laura Williams. That concludes the Doctor of Medicine.
So ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I just want to say something a little more informal. Dean Jobin Bevans, this is the first time he's ever done this. So I want to give him a big round of applause for saying so many names. And while our Dean of Social Science and Humanities goes away for a year of administrative leave, Dean is going to be the acting Dean of Humanities and Social Sciences, and then we're going to call him Dean Jobin Bevans. So that'll always be. So one round of applause for him for this. Thank you. Thank you, Dean. Mr. Chancellor, Andrea Tarsitano, Associate Vice Provost Enrollment and Registrar, will now receive the degrees and diplomas on behalf of all absent students who have graduated today. Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to introduce the last award for today's convocation. The Poulin Award is an award for outstanding citizenship presented to the full-time student selected by his or her fellows, the faculty and administration, as contributing most to the welfare of the university through his or her activities. I would like to call on Charmaine Romanuk to come up and receive her award. There you are. Congratulations. Come over here and Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present Dr. Doriana Dueck, who will lead the graduates of the Faculty of Medicine in the recitation of the Hippocratic Oath. Dr. Dueck.
There is a tradition dating back thousands of years that graduating medical students who are about to become physicians take an oath, whereby they promise to abide by certain ethical standards as they embark on the journey into the practice of medicine. It is called the Hippocratic Oath, named after Hippocrates, a 5th century BC physician and the father of Western medicine. I'm honored to lead this year's graduating medical class in reciting the oath, and I would like to ask the graduates to please stand. I also invite any physicians in the audience and our NOSM faculty who would like to reaffirm their oath to please stand and join our graduates in reciting the Hippocratic Oath. Graduates, please place your right hand over your heart and together recite our Hippocratic Oath. At the time of being admitted as a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge myself to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. I will give to my teachers the respect and gratitude which is their due. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity. The health of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the secrets which are confided in me. I will maintain by all the means in my power the honor and the noble traditions of the medical profession. My colleagues will be my sisters and my brothers. I will respect and value the lives of all persons. I will not discriminate against any person in my medical decisions. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. Even under threat, I will not use my medical knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. Thank you.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to introduce Mr. Robert Jameson, the President of the Lakehead University Alumni Association.
Graduates, on behalf of the Alumni Association of Lakehead University, congratulations on your convocation, this 50th anniversary of graduation, ceremonies at Lakehead University. Although you technically became alumni after your first year of classes, I would now like to officially welcome you to our community of over 56,000 members and people in countries all over the world. It is an exciting time to be an alumni of Lakehead University, This past year has seen tremendous growth in our chapter network. Currently, there are chapters in Ottawa, Toronto, Simcoe County, and Calgary, with plans for continued expansion in the months and years to come. These chapters exist to reinforce the Alumni Association's new mission, to provide a supportive alumni community where our members have opportunities to engage, celebrate, and share. Please follow our alumni website for an event nearest you. At this year's graduation ceremonies in Thunder Bay and Orillia, the Alumni Association is introducing our new tradition. Our 2014 graduates, your class, are the first to be honored with a presentation of the Lakehead University Alumni Scarf. And I must add, they look very, very good. This scarf will soon become a recognizable symbol of Lakehead University. Wear it with pride wherever your future endeavors take you after graduation. On behalf of the Alumni Association of Lakehead University, congratulations. And I look forward to seeing you at one of our upcoming events.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of this wonderful afternoon, and as you're all thinking of looking forward to the summer, beautiful weather, some of you are redecorating the rooms after your kids are going to go off and work somewhere else, maybe renting them out. I know you can only dream, but those are things that are going to come. Going through university nowadays is a tough endeavor. It's really become a team sport. And I think the achievement of our students of coming through after 4 or 5 years of studying, some longer, is something that they do not by themselves. So what I'm going to ask is all the graduates, stretch a little bit, get up, stand up for a second, please. All of you have gotten to this point with somebody's help, and some of them are out there in the audience. I want you to give them a standing ovation, please. I can't hear you. That has to be louder. Thank you very much. So, thank you, parents, friends, family, spouses, children, for supporting our students. You can now sit down. Thank you for that standing ovation for your parents, friends, family, relatives. Mr. Chancellor,
I'm not quite used to this gown yet, you know. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now that the formalities are more or less over, there's just one thing I want all of the graduates to remember about today. The ceremony honors your individual achievement, one that I'm sure, as the President has just said, was supported throughout by your families and your friends. The smiles all around say it all. It's a splendid mix of pride and no doubt, in some instances out there, relief. So treasure this moment. You've earned it. You know, Winston Churchill once said, "I'm always ready to learn, although I do not always like to be taught." Well, graduates, you can now convert what you've been taught into learning about life beyond the hallowed halls of academe. But believe me, never stop learning. We are fortunate to live in a remarkable country. It will be an even better one if you choose to be a player and not just a passenger. I suspect that your greatest challenge, and one that Canada faces as well, is complacency, believing that the quality of life we enjoy can be sustained without effort or imagination. So I'm counting on you to resist that trend and strive to make a difference. So in wishing you success in whatever you choose to do, I also encourage you to carve out some time for public or community service in whatever field appeals to you. Today and tomorrow, we are recognizing with honorary degrees individuals like Dr. Aberman, who have made and are making outstanding contributions to their communities and to our country. I hope that their examples will be an inspiration for many of you. So good luck and best wishes. I hereby declare this convocation closed. Thank you all.